The Battle of Wake Island, fought between December 8 and December 23, 1941, was a dramatic confrontation in the opening days of the Pacific War, showcasing the tenacity and bravery of a small American garrison against overwhelming Japanese forces. Wake Island, a remote coral atoll in the Central Pacific, was a vital strategic outpost for the United States, serving as a refueling station and potential airbase for trans-Pacific operations. By December 1941, the island was garrisoned by a modest force of approximately 450 U.S. Marines from the 1st Defense Battalion, led by Major James P.S. Devereux, along with 68 sailors and a small contingent of Army personnel. Additionally, nearly 1,200 civilian workers from the Morrison-Knudsen Company were present, having been employed to build fortifications and infrastructure. Despite efforts to reinforce Wake in the preceding months, the defenses were still incomplete, with only 6 operational coastal defense guns, a few anti-aircraft batteries, and 12 F-4F Wildcat fighters from Marine Fighter Squadron VMF-211, commanded by Major Paul A. Putnam. The battle began on December 8, just hours after the attack on Pearl Harbor, when Wake Island came under assault from a formation of 36 Japanese bombers. The attack was devastating, as most of the Wildcats were destroyed on the ground, caught unprepared without adequate warning. The air raid also damaged critical infrastructure, including the airstrip and fuel storage facilities, severely limiting the defenders' ability to launch counterattacks. Despite this setback, the remaining Marines and surviving pilots braced for the inevitable amphibious invasion. On December 9 and 10, Japanese aircraft continued their relentless bombardment, further weakening the island's fortifications. The defenders, however, remained steadfast, repairing what they could and preparing for combat. The first major Japanese landing attempt occurred on December 11, when an invasion force led by Rear Admiral Sadamaki Kajioka, consisting of 6 destroyers, 2 light cruisers, and a transport ship carrying over 450 special naval landing troops, approached the island. The American defenders, using their 5-inch coastal guns, opened fire as the Japanese ships came within range. The gunners demonstrated remarkable accuracy, sinking the destroyers Hay-8 and Kisaragi and heavily damaging several other vessels. Meanwhile, the few remaining Wildcat fighters, piloted by Marine aviators, launched daring strafing runs against the enemy, inflicting further losses. Faced with unexpectedly fierce resistance, Admiral Kajioka was forced to call off the attack, marking the only time during World War II that a Japanese amphibious assault was repelled. The stunning American victory briefly raised hopes that Wake Island could hold out until reinforcements arrived. However, the situation remained dire. Japanese air raids continued daily, gradually eroding the defenders' ability to resist. Supplies of food, water, and ammunition dwindled, and the exhausted garrison knew that another, stronger assault was inevitable. Meanwhile, an American relief force, led by the aircraft carrier USS Saratoga, was dispatched from Pearl Harbor on December 15, but logistical challenges, delays, and concerns about Japanese naval superiority led to the mission's cancellation, leaving Wake's defenders to fend for themselves. On December 23, the Japanese launched a second, much larger assault, this time with 2 heavy cruisers, 6 destroyers, 2 patrol boats, and a transport carrying nearly 1,500 troops. Under the cover of darkness, Japanese forces landed at multiple points on the atoll, engaging in brutal hand-to-hand combat with the outnumbered Marines and civilian volunteers who had taken up arms. Despite fierce resistance, the defenders were gradually overwhelmed. At one point, Major Devereux and his men mounted a desperate counterattack, pushing the enemy back temporarily, but without reinforcements, the situation became untenable. By morning, Japanese troops had secured key positions, including the main defensive strongpoints. Recognizing that further resistance would lead to a massacre, Commander Winfield S. Cunningham, the senior naval officer on Wake, made the agonizing decision to surrender. The fall of Wake Island marked a bitter defeat for the United States. The surviving Marines, sailors, and civilians were taken prisoner, with many enduring years of brutal captivity. Some civilian workers were executed, while others were transported to labor camps in China and Japan. Despite their surrender, the defenders of Wake became symbols of American resilience, and their stand inspired war propaganda and morale-boosting efforts back home. The Japanese occupied Wake until September 1945, using it as an airbase and defensive outpost, but it was never recaptured by American forces during the war. Instead, U.S. forces chose to isolate and bypass it, leaving the Japanese garrison stranded. Wake Island remains an enduring testament to the courage and sacrifice of those who fought there against overwhelming odds.